Yo, it's ODB, Our Lifestyle Podcast. We're on site here for the kickoff of this flip through Mini Truckin Magazine September 9/4, 27 years ago, just in a couple of months. And the significance of this is behind me, you see it's a Ross now, I believe. But growing up in Land O'Lakes, this was a cash and carry. It was the grocery store that my parents came to pretty much every single week. And this issue right here came from right inside that Ross, believe it or not. This is the first issue of Mini Truckin Magazine that I remember purchasing. As I mentioned recently on the channel, I may have had issues before that, but this is the first one I can remember buying, and Mini Truckin 9/4 September. It's a great issue. We're going to flip through it here in just a minute, and of course it's the first, and if I remember correctly, the only fold-out cover. Truckin Magazine did a couple of these. And the other significant thing about where we're at right now is I talk about all the time, or over the course of the past almost 6 years on the podcast, where I started my love for mini trucks. Well, of course, it was in that, in this cash and carry. But ironically enough, there was a kid that was a few years older than me, Chris Lopez. He worked at this cash and carry, and believe it or not, about where we're standing is where he used to park his Mitsubishi. I think it was an 88 Mighty Max. He had a topper for the majority of the time. He also rocked it without a topper. Every few years, he would change the mural on the tailgate, from what I recall. And I saw that truck when I would ride the bus home from middle school. We'd sit on the back of the bus and we'd look out the back window, and almost every single day I would see Chris at the exact place just up the road headed home from high school. So this parking lot right here, this magazine, it's the start of it all. ODB, appreciate you guys. Please tune into the podcast. Search any podcast app. Just search OLP. You know how we do. Stay on the rise. Hey, so I just said peace, but I forgot to say one more thing. Rest in peace to the homie, Greg Miller. We recently paid tribute and homage to the homie. This is the Scrapin the Most shirt by our family at Hammered Weekend Wear. Big up to Ron and Hank, HAMMERD weekendwear.com. Show them some love. Go out there and order some merch. Now listen, rest in peace, Greg. Let's jump in. September 94 issue. All right, so as I mentioned, it is December 9/4, issue 36. For whatever reason, I kept thinking September when I was up at the local parking lot, which was, in my day, a cash and carry. That was the plaza. And again, Chris Lopez, he also, I believe, his nickname was Smurf, from what I've heard back in the day. Chris used to park his 88 up there, and I love seeing that thing when my parents would say, hey, we're going to the grocery store. Believe it or not, I wanted to go because I wanted to see that truck. It had ghost flames. I mentioned the topper. So awesome. I'd love to connect with Chris. It's been a little over 10 years. Believe it or not, he got into Lincolns. I had no idea when he first did, and then I found out that he had an awesome 61 that Jimmy and Shane had bagged over at Scrapin Customs. What a small world. But let's jump into this issue and talk a little bit about it. Mike Reidinger, I believe is how you say his name. He shot this famous cover, and believe it or not, he only shot that one cover. Okay, so here's what we got. December 94, as I've corrected myself. You've got the famous, I call it the Soundstream truck, which was sponsored. You can see it there on the tag. Awesome model. You've got the Holiday Buyer's Guide. And for those scoring at home, the significance of this issue is it basically started the consecutive months that became the monthly publication. So you basically had November was the first month, and then this was December. And from that November-December run, from there on out, it was a monthly publication. So it's worth noting that, because I talked earlier in these flip-throughs that essentially we did end up with a 3-month run where it's like, okay, boom, it's going to be monthly, and it just did not sustain 100% going from there. Now, in previous posts, I've talked about this a little bit. It's going from the top of my head. It's the only issue that has the fold-out cover. Now, Truckin did this, and I have those issues. They did this way more than one time, which I thought was pretty awesome. But, if you were a reader on newsstands back then, I mean, this would have obviously been cool. Of course, if you would have received it in the mail, it would have been the same thing. But you basically have this SoundStream ad, so it was a good way for the ad department to kind of sell the benefits of it. And, of course, with it tied into SoundStream, what an awesome tie-in. Of course, you could see here the way it printed. They had to print a little bit over onto this far right page. So you got the real colorful table of contents, TOC for short. And here you're going to see you may want to hold on to this issue of Mini Truckin. It's bound to become a collector's item, considering it sports the first fold-out cover in its 5-year existence. Credits go to SoundStream's Mike Spinella's Chop Top Toyota. And then you see there Anita Eldred. This Kodak moment was put on film by Mike Redinger. Happy holidays, blah, blah, blah. You see the rest. You got this epic Mazda. Look at those hats. Dude. You can talk about the styles. You got the Phantom Grill. Love this one because you got the color matched deal going on. You got the, what's going on there. And you had a jam-packed issue. Of course, you got Slam & Jam, Cal Truck Jam, Indy Truck Bash. Of course, was latest craze. Minis plays host. And then you have tons of features. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 features, including a topless hardbody. So pretty good stuff here. Now, if you're watching this issue or this episode fairly earlier in the week or around the time that we posted it, please be sure to check out the podcast this Friday. We are doing a tribute to Courtney Hallowell. We have Mrs. Hallowell back on the show. She was on very early. I believe it was episode 15. And we've got others paying tribute to Courtney. This Wednesday, unfortunately, marks the 10th anniversary of his passing. He's greatly missed. His club, Negative Camber, that he was a part of, will be celebrating. So shout out to all the NC brothers out there and sisters. They'll be celebrating their 30th anniversary next year with Sever Ties, which I'm a part of. I was a big fan of these holiday buyer guides. It just gave an opportunity for good product placement. Many of you know this truck. Of course, you see the windshield banner there. That's a pretty cool Trader's cover. Other than flipping through this issue, I didn't recall seeing or ever owning that one. Have to check in with the homie Tim Davis. He might have. Dude hooked me up recently. Hopefully you enjoyed the flip through of the 97 Colorado Custom Wheel catalog. I did call it an ad, I think, once or twice, and I did mention I thought it was 97 or 98, but it was 97. Epic times. One other thing I did not show that I have is a Bill Hancock card, and their cards actually looked just like the colors on the catalog. It looks like the light's doing a better job, so I appreciate a few people that have commented on that. Here you've got the jet ski, and then you can see that D50. Stuff was starting to really heat up as far as the race to be the lowest, at these different shows. We've talked a little bit about, and some of you guys have chimed in about some of the trucks. I always appreciate when you guys do that. That's how I learn. And, we can thank a lot of the mini truckers out there worldwide for their contributions, because that's how, again, we learn. So you got Billy Thurmond, 86 Mazda. You can see some classics here. Hardbody, super popular. Mike Curry Jr.'s. And then this famous thing, that Dordo. That's what Mike needs to do. You see there on the windshield, it looks like the shop, I think. Mike needs to do those. That's what he keeps saying he's going to do, man. Mike's compromising. This is one of the lowest ones I can remember seeing in the magazine. That Mazda. And hopefully you appreciated me going on site up there. Literally, I knew what I was going to talk about going there and thinking about it, but I did remember that Chris Lopez, as I mentioned, used to park his truck up there, and literally that brought back some awesome memories. Just too low. So this Killer S10 87, of course, it's got the caps there where the convertible, you can see Courtney right there in the lower left. He shot this. Real awesome feature kind of by the mountainside there. I would rock this to today, even in today's climate, so to speak, in the mini truck scene. This would be a huge hit with the ground effects. Those headlight covers, though. It's a real nice evening, a little bit hot in Florida here. You can hear the birds, believe it or not. It's always funny when I go back and I'm putting these together. It's crazy what these microphones will pick up. So here's the 87. This is from Oregon, Droolin. Shout out to all the fam up in the Pacific Northwest. Ron at Hammered Weekend Wear. Of course, Jeff at Mini Garage. Appreciate him always supporting OLP, wearing the gear. As I mentioned towards the end of my on-site video, I'm wearing the Scrapin the Most shirt. Rest in peace to my homie Greg Miller. Here's Rhonda Koch, I think Koch. Seen her, of course, I mentioned that, I think, on a couple of those flip-throughs, including Pat Nichols. She was no stranger to working with Auto Sound and Security and some of those different photographers, including mini trucking photographers. So mini style, these were pretty cool. Courtney put these together, and how ironic, it's the 10th anniversary of his passing, and we're looking at some of his work. I always thought it was pretty cool because it gave an opportunity for a little bit of product placement, but also I'm sure these were fun to do. You know, you call the homies, you call the chicas, you get some peeps together, you pull the trucks out. You can see the Stage 1 banner there, windshield banner with the tilt bed on the rise. So you just had an opportunity for some of this product placement. This is long before the internet, so this gave you an opportunity just to see what's out there. You can see the Killer Yoda. Others have pointed it out as well. Of course, a lot of white t-shirts back in these days. How ironic, because most of us, I'm currently wearing a black shirt. Never understood why we love our black shirts, because we're at these hot shows. And then you look back, if you've kept any of your old show shirts like I have, you look back and you see all the sweat rings around the collars and stuff like that. And I don't know, growing up, black, I always felt like faded quicker. But these days, man, I'll be rocking a black shirt like no tomorrow. Of course, you got Ballistic here. You see it on the front tag. It's one of my favorite ads ever. I think it really captures the time period. And of course, this is not filled out, which I'm thankful to have this complete issue. I've mentioned in the past, thanks to all of the homies that have helped out in the past with the collection, being able to complete it was a big goal of mine. It did not happen overnight. Now, we've got some killer guests lined up, including this Courtney Hallowell tribute. We've got some cool stuff that will tie into a cover in July. I won't tell you what year. That's going to be coming next week, hopefully, Lord willing. And right there you can see Sean Carlson's, what became the Woodrunner. But, we've got another batch of killer guests coming up. Obviously, we had, a tough run here with losing one of our homies and, just doing what we feel is right. But we are going to keep the pedal stomped into the second half. There's that famous Nissan Hardbody. into the second half of 2021. As we get sideways into 2022, be looking forward to Mike's show in January next year, late January, Daytona. He's doing really well with the pre-registrations. And, of course, we'll be at Lone Star Throwdown. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's a bunch of shows left this year, including Relax It in the Northwest, The Awakening in Oregon here in a couple weeks, week and a half or so. Down for Dennis, The Spark Show. All these shows, you can find more information on Facebook or Instagram. Going long, of course, the long bed's on the rise. Tandem's on the rise. So latest craze, I always remember hearing that and seeing that. I think I used to spend a lot of time on their website in the late 90s, if I remember correctly. When websites were kind of, all the rage, and you'd have the clubs and the chapters would go on these pages all the time. Famous back window. Got the Amigo. So chopped, slammed, and jammed. Here you see Mike Spinella? I think I said that wrong earlier. Significance of this truck is he was with, I believe we saw on the table of contents, he was with Soundstream. And this is an 85 Yoda. This reminded me somewhat of Gendros for whatever reason. I think because of the chop top and just the style truck. You can see here those classic wheels. You got Anita Eldred. Real cool photo shoot. Perfect tie-in. Perfect product placement. Great truck. Clean French antenna. Crazy stereo. By today's standards, maybe not, but from an old school perspective, absolutely. Till Bass Do Us Part. I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of a spin-off of Till Death Do Us Part with Ghetto Boys. DJ Snake featuring DJ AK. Didn't even have to use my AK. Gotta say, it was a good day. Here, of course, you see there. Now, I was quick to want to always think that these were HRBB style wheels. You can see there, they're American Racing. So I so wanted to say a moment ago, those badass HRBB wheels. That's the feeling, that's the thought that I get when I first see them. But I would have stood corrected. Because, as you can see, they're American Racing. And that was kind of the tie-in. This one was from my area here. April Conklin, Brandon, Florida. I remember seeing that truck around, if I remember correctly. But, I kind of mentioned that in the Colorado Custom Flip-Through. Just the style, oftentimes a couple of the wheel companies get the lion's share of the love, but we got to remember there were some other wheels out there, including Weld. We recently posted about that on social media, talking about that Ford Ranger that was juiced. I mean, you look at those Weld wheels, and man, they'll hang up there with the best of them. This is the homie Ruben Artiaga's truck. Getting some love from Shartsis, his homie. Of course, much love to Ruben and Mike Shartsis. He's helped us get Mike on several times. ZR 2200, a work truck gone wild. Ben Smith, we see you out there, homie. You need one of those for the back, dog. I know you got an S10 and all, but pretty cool stuff, man. Mini Truckin Street Scene. Some will remember Street Scene when the website first came out. It was called streetscene.com, I think it was. And then I'm going back in the memory banks. I think that they had gotten like a cease and desist from one of the hot rod magazines that felt like it was too similar. So they had to change to Street Source. How many of you guys remember that? If you were a Street Source website guy or lady, comment what was your username. What did you go by? What do you remember? My buddies and I at the time, we remember at that, Precision Power. We remember when they first rolled out, they had games on their website, and it kind of was like a very kind of forward-thinking type thing where they had games available and you could earn points and stuff, and it's kind of like what you see today with different games to kind of get you sucked in. But we spent a lot of time on the website doing that stuff. Of course, they supposedly had like a system set up that if you got featured, they would pay you money if you had their logo, on the windshield or a smaller decal. And it's funny, I thought of that because I was watching some of the old VHS tapes from Steve Nielsen, and Steve was talking about, even in the late 90s, how they were trying to do product placement like that if you got shot with a roll pan or something like that, and you gave them a shout out, they were willing to kind of give you credit or even kickbacks. And I thought that was kind of a forward-thinking idea, especially for product placement in that era. Long, long, long before social media. Eric Graff, Simi Valley. Everyone cute goes S-I-M-I, Valley for the Rally on the Predator album. Had to edit the lyrics a little bit there. But this thing is awesome. Yellow on the tag. Dude, Mike does not have a hair on his ass if he doesn't run an old school TV like that in his Mazda. Project Banana Hammock. Here is Steve Godfrey's Phoenix, Arizona 86 Nissan Hardbody. Dude, this thing is awesome. Classic product placement. You got the model. You got Beltec in there. Even that box, man, that box brings me back. Seeing some old Air Jordan boxes or a box like that, that was kind of the time with the print on it. That stuff just literally zaps me back like it was Doc Brown's time machine. Love this shit, man. Check out the shirts. Dude, I'd go back and buy a couple boxes of those things. And of course, you got the rest of the feature here. Far from all color issues. I know we talk about that all the time. But here you can see Station 1's Nissan. So, so often I wanted to kind of say Stage 1, looking at it on the cover, or styling or something like that. But this was Station 1. And of course, it is a convertible. The homie Tim Davis, he has an amazing convertible hardbody, and seeing that right there brings me back to seeing his. I love his truck. Got a chance to see it at Scrapin the Coast. Got a chance to take a photo, thanks to my boy Tim, bringing the Nissan over next to Bada Bing. Dude, epic weekend. So Courtney shot this. I mean, he shot so many features. This is Brian and Jen's 92 Amigo. You can see Fairfax. Pretty clean. I don't really mind the wheel choice at all, even with the ground effects. I drove an Amigo for a little bit, but I don't think I have any photos I've ever found of when I owned it. It was the homie John's. He moved on from it. I bought it as a daily when I started tearing into the S10. It was a purple Amigo. I gotta find some photos of that, man. I almost forget about that shit. Many moons ago, y'all. So, try to wrap this up real quick. Got Soundstream on the back, of course. Great product placement. Issue 36. Now, please forgive me. I know at the beginning, I kept saying September. I don't know if I was thinking about Biggie's album. I was thinking about something. But it's definitely December. And I want to get this one out so I can keep pushing ahead. This is, of course, is going to round out 9.4. We're going to roll into 9.5, 9.6, 9.7. Those 3-4 year run. A lot of good issues. And the good thing is we've got 12 per year from here on out. So much love to everybody out there that supports the cause. OurLifestylePodcast.com. OLP via any podcast app. Stay on the rise. Rest in peace, Greg Miller. Rest in peace, Courtney Hallowell. 10th anniversary, unfortunately, of his passing. Thanks to Maggie. Thanks to David Magotti for coming on. And hopefully a few others we'll link up with soon. We out here.
Peace.